The Three Kingdoms. Mantou and mustard tuber, I became emperor. Introduction. www.zhaozuiyuan.com Yi Chen went through the troubled times of the Three Kingdoms and became a Yellow Scarf army commander. Surrounded by various government offices, hiding in the deep mountains to survive. At this time, the camp is full of injuries and illnesses, morale is low, and food is in short supply. Just as Yi Chen was in despair, he bound the reputation mall system. Obtain the consumption violence return. Yi Chen, with only a small reputation value, redeemed https://www.zhaozuiyuan.com. Chapter 1. Opening Traversing Chaotic Times. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. In the winter of November of the 6th year of Zhongping, Yangzhou, Guangling County, is a deserted mountain village located in the deep mountains on the outskirts of Jiangdu County. A dilapidated thatched cottage backyard. It's really frustrating. Rebirth is not a problem, it's amazing to be reborn into a chaotic world like the Three Kingdoms. In times of chaos, that's all. This person has also become a leader of the Yellow Turban Army. Who can we talk to about it? In the backyard of a dilapidated thatched cottage, a young man sat by a dry well, looking up at the sky and sighing deeply. The young man's name is Yi Chen, and he is a traveler. I don't know what's going on. Wake up and travel through the chaotic world of the Three Kingdoms. Integrating his past life, his originally depressed mood became even more depressed. In his past life, he was originally a wealthy family with a wealthy background. Although my parents passed away early, they were supported by a solid family background. I don't have to worry about food and drink. Unfortunately, the Yellow Turban Army rebelled and broke through the city where he was located. Bind him into the army. To seek survival, he joined the Yellow Turban Army. Fortunately, he was literate and didn't have much time, so he became a small and handsome person. I have 1,000 brothers under my command. Never expected. Just made a name for himself in the Yellow Turban Army. Tiangong General Zhang Jiao unexpectedly died of illness. The Yellow Turban Army, which had lost its leader, retreated step by step. The army suppressed the uprising by the court and fought against it. And his troops were besieged by various armies. I had no choice but to hide in the deep mountains and deserted villages to survive. Even if they escape by chance. But now all the important roads down the mountain are blocked by the imperial court's officers and soldiers. Kill 1,000 brothers either injured or disabled. A wearable army is only 200. More importantly, there is a shortage of food, which can only last for a maximum of 2 days. If it weren't for the officers and soldiers fearing the bravery of the Yellow Turban Army, they would have gone into the mountains to annihilate them long ago. In my past life, I was also aware of the current situation and in a state of urgency, unable to catch my breath. It went straight ahead. Oh my goodness, I'll just ask. Can we still have another chance to travel? Yi Chen looked up at the sky, his eyes filled with despair. It's useless for anyone to come in this situation now. Various important routes have been surrounded by officers and soldiers, and the Yellow Turban Army is now in a state of decline. Don't mention running away. Even if there is no chance of surrender. Nowadays, anyone who is an official on the side of the court doesn't want to have the head of the Yellow Turban thief shudder in reputation. Yi Chen still remembers. In the future, when the two armies of the Three Kingdoms engage in battle, please inform us of your name. Everyone comes up with the same sentence. I used to be the XX who defeated the Yellow Turban Army. I won't say anything else. If Yi Chen wants to surrender now, the officers and soldiers must falsely agree. After he comes out of the mountain, he will definitely cut off his dog head and make a name for himself. Now. Running but unable to run, descending but not descending. The ending can only be either trapped in the deep mountains and starving to death. Either surrender and be chopped to death by the court officials and soldiers. Yi Chen sighed and pondered for a while. I can't think of a way to survive. Now is the end of the Eastern Han dynasty. The Yellow Turban Army uprising can be said to have opened the prelude to the Three Kingdoms. Yi Chen felt that his misfortune was due to his own identity. If it were earlier, General Zhang Jiao of the Heavenly Kingdom is still alive. With his ability to advance knowledge and foresight, this may not necessarily be impossible to achieve. After all, at its peak, the Yellow Turban Army occupied 3/4 of the entire Han dynasty. But sadly, it is. He crossed over and Zhang Jianima had already died. Nowadays, the Yellow Turban Army in various regions is being chased and beaten by various armies of the court. If there is no identity as the Yellow Turban Army, he can go and hug Mr. Chao's thigh. But the time is not right. The current boss Chao is still young. Still a passionate young man full of ideals. When I hear that I am a yellow scarf thief, I will definitely cut without saying a word. Even if we take a step back. If Yi Chen crosses over and becomes an ordinary soldier of the Yellow Turban Army, there is still a chance of survival. But when he became the commander of the canal, he had already become a small official in the court. I don't know how many officers and soldiers of the Han dynasty are waiting to kill him, so that he can be promoted and become rich, and become famous. Tired, destroy it. Hurry up and drive the next one. Yi Chen spoke to herself in despair. Now he has no soldiers in his hands, and there are still a lot of wounded soldiers. Breaking through is impossible. What's even more terrifying is running out of food. Once a person cannot eat enough, something crazy may happen. Even if Yi Chen thinks with his butt, he can still think of it. Once the day of food shortage arrives, it will be his death. The lieutenants under his command absolutely killed him and surrendered to the court. Just as Yi Chen was in despair, a cold mechanical sound suddenly appeared in my mind. Ding! Reputation system binding successful. Reputation system enabled. System. For him, who has read countless travel novels in his past life, he is not unfamiliar with the system. The emergence of the system undoubtedly gave Yi Chen a glimmer of hope for survival. Yi Chen calls out the system panel in his mind. Host. Yi Chen, position. Huang Zhanjuan Xiaofang Shuai, current reputation value. 50, ding, level 1 reputation mall refreshed. A bowl of congee. 1 reputation, a pack of pickled vegetables. 1 reputation, a portion of white bread. 1 reputation, PS. With each material consumption, the violent return mode will be triggered. The more you consume, the more you return. Consume 100,000 reputation points and can be upgraded to a second-level reputation mall. First-level reputation mall items, with a maximum of 100,000 violent returns per day. At midnight every day, reputation mall refreshes. Bangzi congee, pickles, white steamed buns. With these, you're still afraid of eggs. The key is also the violent return mode. Yi Chen saw this feature in the system and was overjoyed to find the Shuyuan website www.zhaoshuyuan.com. That is to say, the more his subordinates eat, the more they return. Top-tier rice cooker system. That is to say, as long as someone keeps eating, he can get an unlimited amount of congee, pickles, and steamed buns. With these grains. What are you afraid of? Officers and soldiers surrounding the mountain. Ding, distribute system novice gift packages. Congratulations to the host for obtaining a storage space of 10 by 10 by 10 storage space. After reading the storage space manual, Yi Chen couldn't help but feel happy. The system is really thoughtful. The storage space can not only store items, but also ensure that food is stored in the system space without damage. Yi Chen took a deep breath. Calm down the excitement. Then my mind moved, and I spent a reputation to exchange a white facial mask. Just got the mantou, he just finished spinning it in 3 or 2 bites. To be honest. During these days, not only have the people under their command reduced their food supply. He eats very little every meal. Now I can exchange white bread from the system. What else can be said? It's done. Oh my mom, it smells so fragrant. As soon as Chen finished eating a white bread, a cold mechanical sound immediately echoed in his mind. Ding, trigger 100-fold violent return, reward the host with 100 white bread. Chen saw white bread piled up into small mountains in the system space. I suddenly felt a lot of comfort. With these grains. His life is small, so there's no need to worry about it for now. Chapter 2. Stick congee and white bread. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, Jiangdu County, Camel Mountain. In a deserted village within the mountain. At the entrance of the village, the heads of the 5 yellow turban soldiers gathered around a campfire, warming themselves while swearing and cursing. It looks like it's getting dark now, why haven't we served the meal yet? This is to starve us to death. Among the 5 people sitting around, an old man with gray hair complained to a tall and burly man in the middle. The yellow turban army, led by Xiaoqiu, commanded 1,000 soldiers and horses. 5 colonels, each with 200 soldiers under his command. The 5 people by the campfire are the commanding officers of this yellow turban army. What to eat? Mad, you can count the rice in that bowl of congee. There is a bird difference between drinking congee and drinking water. I just piss, which is more muddy than that bullshit congee. According to me, let's just cut off that Shuai with one blow and surrender to the government. Maybe we can still have a hot meal to eat. The strong man held a steel knife in his hand and kept wiping it. A fierce gleam occasionally flashed in the eyes. Since taking shelter in the mountain, the food has been getting worse and worse. I used to be at the foot of the mountain, there was really nothing to eat, and I could still go grab it. Nowadays, officers and soldiers are sealing off the mountains, coupled with heavy winter snow. I can't even find wild game in the mountains. Now the mouse sees them all taking a detour. Today's daily food is more water than congee. It's good to find 3 grains of rice in a bowl of congee. Drink this thing every day, if you can eat enough, you'll see the ghosts. Don't talk nonsense, if you really kill Chu Shuai, then Huang Tian will blame you and drop a thunderbolt to kill you. The old captain with gray hair said. Upon hearing this, a hint of fear appeared in the strong man's eyes. The waves of hunger emanating from his stomach still made a resolute expression appear on his face. People in this era are still very superstitious. If it weren't for the fear of punishment from the yellow sky, they would have gone up in a swarm and chopped off Chen. Here, here. Adults, let's have dinner. Just then, a fireman came up with a bucket of congee. Seeing someone coming, a few people quickly gathered around. When I went to see the congee in the bucket, the strong man would live in Bungbu at that time. Nimas. It used to be a bowl of congee in which you could count several grains of rice. Now it's a bucket of congee with several grains of rice. Chu Shuai doesn't want his brothers to live. Old Wang, as I just said, will you do it or not? After speaking, the strong man's gaze was fixed on the old king's head. Is this? He. Old Wang's words were evasive. I definitely want to do it. But after all, we respect Huang Tian. If Huang Zhenzhen were to be punished and struck to death by lightning, he wouldn't even have the chance to reincarnate and become a human again. If you step on a horse, you're just a coward. If you don't do it, I'll do it myself. You wait for me. After speaking, go to the village camp to greet your confidant. Chu Shuai, we have clear soup and little water every day. Brothers, we can't eat or run away. Yes, only the clear Congee can raise fish. If you drink it, you will not drink it. Shuai, this is your fault. Let the brothers starve, how can this be done? That's right, let's fight with the officers and soldiers instead of starving to death. Maybe we can find a breakthrough and still have a way to survive. In the courtyard of the dilapidated house where Cheng is located, a series of noisy shouts rang out. I have been surrounded by officers and soldiers for over a week now. In addition, with heavy snow blocking the mountains, it's even difficult to find people who stutter keep going like this. Of course, Cheng is very clear about the result. In the end, it can only be a mutiny. To be honest, it could last for a week before the mutiny broke out. Cheng felt wronged for them all. If it were me, I would have stopped working long ago. So, such a result is not difficult for Cheng to predict. He took a deep breath, opened the door, and came to everyone. Everyone. I am also aware of how dissatisfied everyone is with the food. Humph. Captain Lin, the leader, gave a cold smile. They are so hungry now that they are almost urinating blood. How can one be dismissed in just a few words? Captain Lin was just about to speak sarcastically. Just listen to Cheng's conversation change. Although it used to be like this. But from today on, I, Cheng, promise to make sure my brothers have enough to eat. Whenever someone can't eat enough, Cheng will pull out his sword and commit suicide. Real Nima can boast. When they heard Cheng's big words, they were speechless and roast. Since there is a way, what did you do earlier? I'm afraid it's for the sake of saving my life that I'm saying this now. Brothers, don't talk nonsense to him. Let's go shoulder to shoulder. As soon as Captain Lin drew his waist knife, he headed straight for Cheng. Wait. Cheng quickly turned around and entered the room. Lin Shuai saw that he wanted to run and rushed into the house with a dozen or so subordinates. As soon as I entered the room, I smelled a strong smell of congee in the room. Lin Shuai took 3 steps in 2, and with one swift step, he looked towards the large vat in front of Cheng. In the vat, there are yellow, orange and orange sticks, congee and white steamed buns. There are also strips of red pickled vegetables wrapped in unknown sauces. Seeing these, Captain Lin's face was full of disbelief. Dong dong dong. The whole person took a few steps back in shock. Looking at Cheng with a shocked expression. Shuai, is this true? What's in the tank? Why is it so fragrant? Let me take a look, let me take a look. Captain Lin's dozen or so subordinates could smell the aroma inside the house. I don't care about killing Cheng. They rushed towards the edge of the cylinder. See the vat full of stick congee, white steamed buns, and pickles. One by one, as if struck by lightning. The whole person froze in place. It feels like being possessed by a fixed spell. However, the saliva flowing from the corners of their mouths indicates that they have not been bound by any spells. The people looked at the vat full of stick congee and white steamed buns, and they were dumbfounded. I've never seen such a delicious thing in my life. The yellow, orange and stick congee is like gold. People can't help talking about it. Compared to the few days ago when there was little water and clear soup, there was a difference between heaven and earth, a difference between clouds and mud. And the white steamed buns beside the stick congee, smelling the fragrance of the noodles, made all the officers and soldiers swallow saliva. Sir, are these really for us to eat? A soldier trembling pointed to the white facial mask and the stick congee, looked for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com and asked breathlessly. This is nature. The marshal of this canal prayed to Huang Tian. Huang Tian felt that the marshal of this canal was sincere and pitied us, the Yellow Turban Army, for not having enough to eat. Special reward for these grains, let me wait for a full meal. Don't worry about eating, there's not enough left. As a follower of the Tianping Tao, one can receive the protection of the yellow heaven. Yi Chen looked like a godly stick and explained to everyone the origin of these grains. Should I say it or not? Being a yellow turban army also has benefits. What inexplicable thing, just push it onto Huang Tian and it's done. Who made them the yellow turban army, essentially a religious army? It's reasonable for heaven to bestow something to help believers overcome difficulties. Brothers, what are you still waiting for? Eat it. Yi Chen sees people staring at Bangzi congee in white steamed buns, but nothing happens for a long time. Directly grabbed a white bread and stuffed it into the hands of a small soldier. The soldier touched the hot white bread and smelled the tempting aroma of the noodles, feeling somewhat bewildered for a moment. Little brother, eat it. Yi Chen showed a kind smile on his face and encouraged him with his eyes. As his voice fell, a dozen soldiers, like hungry wolves, rushed at the sticks of congee in white steamed buns. Ding, reputation +1, ding, reputation +1, Yi Chen heard the prompt sound in his mind and saw more and more stick congee, steamed buns and pickles in the system space. A joyful smile appeared on the face. He knows. This mutiny crisis can be considered a stable one. Chapter 3 I report. There are bad people in the Yellow Turban Army. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, God, this stick of congee is so delicious. What kind of thing did this come from? Drinking it makes my whole stomach warm. I never thought in my life that I could also eat such delicious food. The landlord's family in our village may not even be able to eat these things. And this white bread, it's really fragrant. It's not made by grinding wheat into flour, is it? I am truly Shuai. I was able to communicate with Huang Tian and reward him with such a good thing. If I could eat this meal, it would be worth dying in the future. Try this pickled vegetable quickly, it even contains refined salt inside. It's too luxurious, isn't it? More than a dozen soldiers devoured congee, steamed buns and pickles. I couldn't help but sigh one after another. A simple breakfast in later generations completely conquered them. Now is the end of the Eastern Han dynasty. War broke out everywhere, and the people were struggling to make a living. The previous major droughts and epidemics. The land has long been turned into a wasteland. Ordinary people, not to mention having enough to eat, can be considered good if they don't starve to death. Such things as stick congee in white steamed bun, let alone eat. I dare not even dream about it. Although the cold winter is harsh, at this moment, more than 10 soldiers inside the house are eating hot and sweating profusely. Shuai, why don't you eat it? A soldier nibbled on a white bread and asked with a hint of confusion. I can't eat it anymore. Hey, that's not right. Brothers, how can I have the heart to eat without having enough to eat first? Say it. Yi Chen wiped away the non-existent tears with a corner of his clothes. Actually, at the first time, he was exchanging sticks of congee and white steamed buns. I've been indulging in eating and drinking for a long time. Nowadays, I really can't eat any more. However, all the soldiers under his command asked this question. I can't be honest and say that I can't eat at all. Shuai. Upon hearing this, more than 10 soldiers were moved to tears. Shuai, we're not human. Before, we wanted to mutiny and use your head to file a petition for the government. Now when I think about it, we're not as good as pigs and dogs. Say it. More than 10 soldiers looked at Captain Lin at the same time. Suddenly, my eyes turned red. He didn't eat any more. He threw down the steamed buns and congee and rushed towards Lin Shuai. In an instant, more than 10 people pressed Captain Lin to the ground. A soldier drew his waist knife. With a regretful expression on his face, he said to Yi Chen. Shuai, it's him. It was Captain Lin who incited us to mutiny. Today, my brothers will give me a witness. I will kill him now and be loyal to Shuai for this lifetime. Cut him down. More than a dozen other soldiers cheered one after another. Speaking. The soldier drew a knife and was about to chop towards Captain Lin's neck. I'm Nima. So Captain Lin was completely bewildered. I never expected things to develop to such an extent. Aren't you guys inciting yourself to mutiny? But now he wants to cut himself off and show loyalty to General Chu. Please, be a person. Just at the critical moment. Cut slow. Yi Chen waved his hand. Order more than 10 soldiers to release Captain Lin. He filled a bowl of congee with a stick, took a white steamed bun, and went to Lin Shuai. Captain Lin, I understand your difficulties. As the old saying goes, man is iron, and food is steel. A meal without hunger is a panic. Fortunately, Huang Tian won't give up. Providing such delicious food has given us a glimmer of survival. In the future, we must unite and forge a bright future for the poor people of the world and our followers of the Taiping Tao. I won't say much else, come on. After drying this bowl of congee and eating this steamed bun, we are still good brothers. Lin Xiaowei's tiger eyes were tearful and moved. Chu Shuai, I'm a damn old Lin. Not to mention anything else, from now on, I will sell my life to Chu Shuai. Yi Chen nodded with a smile on his face. Drink congee and eat steamed buns. Captain Lin remained silent. He took congee, steamed buns and cabbage, and directly dried 3 bowls in a row. So delicious, it makes him feel like he's in heaven. To be honest. He has also eaten big fish and big meat before. But compared with the stick congee and white steamed bun in front of me, it is inferior. Especially the refined salt in pickled vegetables made Captain Lin's tongue twitch. The preciousness of refined salt is simply not something that ordinary people can afford. Even those descendants of aristocratic families only use it to brush their teeth and rinse their mouths, and they can't bear to eat it. After Lin Xiaowei had eaten and drunk enough, he said to Yi Chen with a serious expression on his face. Chu Shuai. I want to report it. There are bad people in the Yellow Turban Army. What does this mean? Yi Chen asked in confusion. Old Wang, along with the other 4 colonels, incited me to commit a crime. Saying to use Chu Shuai's life to deliver a memorial to the government. They are the real mastermind behind it. Chu Shuai, it's better to be a dog than a pig like this. Those who seek glory as sellers cannot stay. No need to trouble Chu Shuai, you have a look. I'm going to end up with them. Yi Chen. After hearing this, he knew what was going on. Why didn't you see before that everyone in the Yellow Turban Army was a master of throwing blame? But he knows better. The fundamental reason for these chaos is that there is nothing to eat and hunger. The situation is different now. A problem that can be solved with food is not called a problem. Captain Lin, we will discuss this matter later. There are many sticks of congee, white steamed buns, and pickles in the backyard. You move out and give your brothers points. Tell everyone to eat open, there's not enough left. Not only today, but also every day in the future, stick congee and white steamed buns are enough. In short, I am handsome in just 1 sentence. In the future, if I have a dry bite, I will definitely not give my brothers a thin one. Tell my brothers, these are all rewards from Huang Tian to our followers of the Tianping Tao. The heavens are dead, and the yellow sky should stand tall. At the age of Jia Zi, the world is in good fortune. After Yi Chen finished speaking, he lifted his arms and shouted the slogan of their Yellow Turban Army. The heavens are dead, and the yellow sky should stand tall. At the age of Jia Zi, the world is in good fortune. The heavens are dead, and the yellow sky should stand tall. At the age of Jia Zi, the world is in good fortune. Captain Lin, accompanied by a dozen or so soldiers, shouted wildly along. And their gaze at Yi Chen slowly began to change. It's like looking at a deity. Yi Chen nodded in satisfaction as he saw the change in his subordinate's expression. It seems that I really have a talent for being a god. Above the open ground, Yi Chen stood in front of the dozen or so large cylinders carried by Lin Shuai and others, shouting loudly. Brothers, this is the grain bestowed by Huang Tian through my sincere prayer. Don't worry, everyone. Enough stick congee and white steamed buns. Just finished speaking. Zhaozuiyuan.com Wang Shuai, with gray hair, walked up to Yi Chen and half knelt on the ground, asking directly. Shuai. There's a question for my brothers, Mr. Wang. Do you want me to wait until we finish this meal? Are we going to fight against the government's troops and break through the encirclement? Actually, Yi Chen said that most of the Yellow Turban army present did not believe it. What kind of grain is rewarded by the yellow sky? If it were true, what did Huang Tian do earlier? Will General Zhang Jiao of the Heavenly Kingdom still die of illness? At this time, many believers of the Tianping Dao had already harbored deep doubts about their faith. I won't say anything else. Such a sumptuous meal. Maybe it's all about taking out the last grain reserves and rewarding them. Then let them collectively charge and break through, so as to open up a way for Yi Chen to survive. I said, Old Wang, why are you talking so much nonsense? Eat if you like, roll if you don't eat. Can't you stop your mouth with such good food? Lin Shuai sneered. As soon as these words were spoken, many people's thoughts became vivid. Whether it's the last meal or not. Fill your stomach first before proceeding. Being a starving ghost is better than being a starving ghost. The sun is setting in the west. Dinner's ready. When the sound of the firemen sounded, a group of yellow turban soldiers saw the familiar vat approaching again. Upon opening the lid, everyone was dumbfounded. Sleeping trough, Huang Zhenzhen's Nima has appeared. Another stick of congee, white steamed buns, and pickles. It seems that what Shuai said is true. Nima really manages enough. Chapter 4. Cheng Yu's visit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, 3 days later, in the desolate village of Camel Mountain. Shuai, today we still eat stick congee and white steamed buns. A group of soldiers from the Yellow Turban army gathered around Yi Chen with a few large jars carried by the firemen behind them, all smiles on their faces. These 3 days. It was their happiest 3 days. Previously, the soldiers of the Yellow Turban army were all disheveled, with yellow faces and thin muscles. With the addition of bangzi congee, mustard tuber and white steamed buns, every face of the soldiers of the Yellow Scarf army today is glowing with a trace of red. As the firemen quietly lifted the lid of the large vat, a group of soldiers smelled the familiar aroma of corn and became completely excited. Yi Chen saw the smile on the soldier's face and also smiled. Standing on the open ground, he greeted a group of soldiers. Brothers, don't worry, I'll stick to that sentence. As long as I have Yi Chen here, there will be enough sticks of congee, pickles and steamed buns. Everyone just let go of their stomachs, how hard they are. After saying that, he ordered the firemen around him to give the soldiers of the Yellow Scarf army the batten congee, mustard tuber and steamed white noodles. These days, everyone is also familiar with Yi Chen's process. In just a moment, all the soldiers lined up in an orderly manner to receive food. Everyone is a bowl of congee and a steamed bun of white flour. After eating, they can add unlimited amount. After receiving their meal, they sat around the open space, spinning wildly. Everyone was eating while occasionally glancing at Yi Chen who was serving food. The gaze was filled with reverence. Our Shuai is really a living bodhisattva, he has been so kind to us. Didn't you hear that all the food we ate was begged by Shuai from the heavens? At first glance, Shuai is simply a living immortal. Apart from everything else, even princes can't live such a life as porridge, pickles and steamed buns every day. That's right. In the future, if everyone works hard with Shuai, are you still afraid of not having a good life? You're right, I don't care what you think. Anyway, in the future, my life will be that of Shuai. Whatever he says, I'll do. In just 3 days. Yi Chen's position in the hearts of the soldiers of the Yellow Turban Army is infinitely elevated. In their view, Yi Chen became the spokesperson for the heavenly god. In a chaotic world, everyone's wishes are actually weak and pitiful. As long as they can eat well and fully. Without illness or disaster, that is a living immortal. Following the living immortal and risking one's life, still worried about not having a good future. Perhaps after dying in battle, one can still go to the heavenly court and become a heavenly soldier and general. As for some people who had doubts about Yi Chen before, after the baptism of Bangzi Congee for 3 days. That's really amazing. After all, can transform food out of thin air. This is not the immortal family's method. What is the immortal family's method? Shuai Laowangtu squatted in the corner, holding a bowl of congee with a stick in his hand, and heard the discussion of his soldiers. Nodding repeatedly. In these 3 days, not only his soldiers were conquered, but he himself was also completely conquered. Don't eat rice porridge, pickles, white steamed buns. Eat casually until you're full. The emperor doesn't even have such a big hand. To be honest. Since the death of General Zhang Jiao of the Heavenly Kingdom, he has some slight doubts about the series of statements about Tianping Dao. But after Yi Chen's appearance, now he has a deep belief in Huang Tian and the Taiping Dao. Don't say he's going to rebel against the Great Han. Under the command of Shuai, even if he were to ascend to the heavenly court and seize the throne of the Jade Emperor. His old Wang didn't even frown. Ding, reputation +1, ding, reputation +1, ding, reputation +1, ding. At this moment, Yi Chen probably understood the thoughts in the hearts of the soldiers under his command. Upon hearing the incessant sound of prompts in his mind, a pleased smile appeared on his face. In the past 3 days, his reputation has soared under the strong attack of Bangzi Congee, mustard tuber and steamed white noodles. In a short period of time, it has increased its reputation by nearly 3,000. But unlocking the secondary system mall is still far from enough. However, at least compared to the precarious situation when we first crossed over, the situation now is much better. It seems that I have firmly grasped the loyalty of these yellow scarf officers and soldiers now. Yi Chen secretly summed up. People in this era are still very superstitious. The combat effectiveness of religious armies is extremely terrifying. Take Zhang Lu's 5-dough rice cult as an example. Boss Chow, who will reach his peak strength in the future, dare not confront Zhang Lugang. On the contrary, one must sit down with a good voice and throw out huge benefits in order to be convinced. And now, the 1,000 Yellow Turban Army under his command is the capital that Yi Chen survived in the chaotic times. Staying in the deep mountains all the time is not a problem. When the snow melts in early spring, the court officials and soldiers will inevitably launch a large-scale attack. Even if there is no threat of food shortage now, we can't wait to be passively beaten. We still need to find a way to break through. Now, after solving the food crisis, a real problem has emerged in front of Yi Chen. He is still surrounded by court officials and soldiers. To survive, one must find a way to break through the encirclement. Otherwise, I would have to be caught by the court army, caught in a jar, and slowly ground to death. Think of this question. After dinner, Yi Chen immediately summoned his 5 lieutenants to inquire about countermeasures. Half a day later, Yi Chen looked at the 5 colonels under his command with a dark face. He was so angry that he wished he could kick everyone. Good guy. After discussing for a while, I didn't even pay a reliable attention. Shuai. Old Wang licked his smiling face and approached Yi Chen. This is not that I can't wait for my brain to fail. The reality is like this. Now the court has gathered 3,000 soldiers and horses to guard various downhill routes. There's really no other way for me to do it except to force myself. If we have to follow what you said and try not to lose our strength, it's not realistic to stand out and surround ourselves. Yeah. Captain Lin followed in line with the Tao. Shuai, old Wang is right. Isn't it just a fight? Let's fight against these dog officers and soldiers. Don't worry, ChooseWhoShuYuan.com will ensure that you bring ChooseWhoShuYuan.com with you for a safe and prominent enclosure. Hey. It seems that I can't count on you anymore. Chen frowned deeply and pondered for a while, unable to figure out how to highlight the encirclement of officers and soldiers at the lowest cost. At present, he has 1,000 yellow turban soldiers under his command, but they are all family members who can save their lives. If there is too much damage during this breakout, he really can't bear to part with it. Why can't we give him a strategist like a lying dragon and phoenix chick? Just this group of people under my command, either fighting or killing. Not at all civilized. After a long time, Chen let out a sigh. There was a hint of determination in my eyes. Anyway, we must not sit idly by and take the initiative to attack. At the same time, on an official road leading to Camel Mountain, a thin middle-aged scholar was riding on a tall, juicy red horse. The horse's hooves lightly tread, and snowflakes fly. The middle-aged scholar had a leisurely posture of wandering mountains and waters. But behind him were 30 or 40 soldiers dressed in the attire of Han officials and soldiers, each with a worried expression. Master, why don't you look worried at all? This time we're going to the thief's den. You're doing it like playing in the mountains and rivers. The horse servant asked with a bitter expression on his face. Hee. The middle-aged scholar gave a faint smile. In your opinion, this is a den of thieves and tigers, in my opinion. This is my place of fame. Believe it or not, after seeing the Yellow Turban Army Commander Chu, in a few words, this rebel army can naturally collapse. Chapter 5. Cheng Yu's Shock. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, half a day later. In a dilapidated courtyard in a deserted village. Shuai, there are officials outside seeking to meet and discussing important matters. Here, thinking about how to break through Chen, I heard a report from my soldiers. His expression was momentarily stunned. Officials seeking an audience. What are they doing here? Shuai, in my opinion, these dog officials must not have been holding their farts. Don't see you again. I'll go and deal with them now, save trouble. Chen gave Lin Xiaowei a bad look. Every day, when something happens, it's either a fight or a kill. You can't use your brain. Colonel Old Wang chuckled. Shuai, since the government has come to negotiate, we won't disturb you. Chen waved his hand indifferently. It's okay to listen together. He has no doubt about the loyalty of his subordinates. Go, prepare the tea and bring the people over. Chen gave orders to his subordinates, then straightened his clothes and headed towards the main hall of the dilapidated house. In no time, when Chen arrived, he saw a middle-aged scholar in his 30s who had been waiting here for a long time. I've seen Shuai. When the middle-aged scholar saw Chen, he immediately bowed. You're welcome, sir. I don't know where you're coming from. What's going on? Chen smiled faintly. The middle-aged scholar had anticipated countless meeting situations beforehand. But I never expected that this handsome Chu would be so young and polite. I couldn't help but look up at it. Seeing Chen's attitude, some of the previous preparations were not useful. So, the middle-aged scholar spoke directly to the point. May I ask General Chu, what do you think of your situation now? Yi Chen let out a deep thought. I might as well tell the truth to the gentleman, it's just waiting for death. Now, with heavy snow blocking the mountains, all the important roads leading down the mountain are under the control of the officers and soldiers. Waiting for the spring of the following year, after the snow melts, the officers and soldiers will enter the mountains to encircle and suppress. Their yellow scarf army is likely to have a tragic ending. After all, the current yellow turban army is not as strong as before, struggling to survive and hastily avoiding in various places. Far from failing the peak of the past. The middle-aged scholar smiled at the words. It seems that Chu Shuai is a sensible person. Talking to smart people is easy. The purpose of the villain's visit is to point out a clear path for General Chu. Nowadays, the Yellow Turban Army is weak and heavily weakened under the encirclement and suppression of local officials. Chu Shuai, why not abandon the dark and surrender to the court earlier? This is the right path. Upon hearing these words, Yi Chen frowned. He had also considered this possibility before. After surrendering, if the court pretended to surrender, they would actually cut themselves with a knife. What can I do myself? Put your life in someone else's hands. This is not Yi Chen's style of action. At this point, the middle-aged scholar saw several Yellow Turban Army captains following behind Yi Chen. A faint smile. However, there was an imperceptible coldness in the smile. Chu Shuai. Before entering the mountains this time, I had already discussed with the Jiangdu County Magistrate. As long as General Chu is willing to surrender, Jiangdu County will immediately take out 1,000 stones of grain to reassure the army. Chu Shuai, even if you don't think for yourself, you still have to think for your subordinates' brothers. Nowadays, the mountains are covered in heavy snow, and the weather is cold and the earth is frozen. At this time, if there is a bowl of hot congee to drink, it is really a blessing in the world. Say it. The middle-aged scholar's gaze was burning as he stared at the several colonels behind Yi Chen. I heard the words here. Yi Chen felt something was wrong. He felt that Cheng Yu had just made some remarks, so it was for him to hear. It's better to say it's for a few colonels under his command to listen to. This old boy is trying to incite his subordinates to rebel against him and use a borrowed weapon to kill. For a while, Yi Chen looked at the middle-aged scholar with a different gaze. He asked tentatively. After chatting for a while, you still don't know the gentleman's name and taboo. Cheng Yu, Cheng Zhongda. Heard the other party self-destruct their home. Yi Chen took a deep breath of air in his heart. This person is a famous strategist from the Three Kingdoms. At first glance, it is indeed quite remarkable. Using oneself as bait and relying on a 3-inch sharp tongue, penetrate deep into enemy camps. Provoking the relationship between generals and commanders. To be honest, if it were not for Yi Chen's unlimited supply of congee, steamed buns, and pickles during this time, maybe Cheng Yu's plan will come true. He accurately grasped the current food shortage situation of the Yellow Turban Army. Then throw out the food to lure his soldiers. If Cheng Yu comes a few days early, perhaps Yi Chen's dog head will be chopped off by Lin Shuai and his team. A small Cheng Yu can do this. What kind of charm should those influential figures in the future Three Kingdoms be? For a moment, Yi Chen Dun felt a strong emotion that could not underestimate the heroes of the world. At the same time, after saying these words, Cheng Yu looked intently at the Yellow Turban Army colonel under Yi Chen's command. The more you look at people, the more dizzy they become, and the more you look at people, the more foolish they become. What kind of situation is this? Why didn't these colonels react at all after finishing their words? Isn't the Yellow Turban Army lacking in food? Are they not hungry if it's difficult? As long as you surrender, you will have rice porridge with white flowers if you cut down Chu Shuai and surrender. Nima. You guys should give some feedback. Even a hint of eye contact is fine. You dog official. What are you looking at? Give it another try. Lin Shuai saw Cheng Yu's gaze constantly sweeping around him. I suddenly became unhappy. Draw out the waist knife and threaten. Yu took another look and struck at Cheng Yu's posture with a knife. Upon hearing this, Yi Chen smiled slightly. He has already figured out the purpose of Cheng Yu's visit to the Yellow Turban Army. However, Cheng Yu was clearly mistaken. Now with the system, what he doesn't lack the most is food. All Cheng Yu's plans are naturally castles in the air. Let's do this. Since Mr. Cheng has arrived, don't leave for now. Stay here and rest for a few days. Find the book garden www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Let's have some landlord friendship. After speaking, Yi Chen waved his hand. Instruct the subordinates to take Cheng Yu and his team down to rest. Just kidding. He's not in a public restroom here, how can he come and leave whenever he wants? Besides, the next step is to highlight the key to the encirclement of officers and soldiers. It was on Cheng Yu and the group of officers and soldiers he brought. After Cheng Yu met Yi Chen. I am completely confused. In his view, the food in the Yellow Turban Army has definitely been depleted. Under his own instigation, the soldiers of the Yellow Turban Army would definitely chop down the Shuai and cause a mutiny. Then, under the guise of the government, he surrendered the Yellow Turban Army. These are all things he had planned for a long time. It's even certain that it will happen. It seems so. The art style is not right at all. When he suggested that Jiangdu County had already prepared the grain and was waiting for its distribution. Those Yellow Turban Army colonel, but they didn't react at all. What the hell is going on here? No. As long as the Yellow Turban Army lacks food, my plan cannot fail. Cheng Yu shook his head, still believing in his own judgment. After a while. Dinner's ready. Accompanied by a loud shout. Countless Yellow Turban Army enthusiastically gathered around the firehead soldiers. Cheng Yu heard the shouting and walked out of the room, thinking it was strange. The Yellow Turban Army is out of food. What kind of meal would you like to have? As he walked into the crowd, he looked at the several large tanks next to the firehead soldier. Suddenly, my eyes popped out. Chapter 6. Big brother, what are you doing by peeling off our clothes? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, impossible. Absolutely impossible. Cheng Yu feels like he has been struck by lightning when he looks at Bangzi congee and white steamed buns in a vat. Standing in place in a daze. The Yellow Turban Army not only does not lack food. Surprisingly, this kind of food still exists. The yellow stick congee is steaming hot. The white steamed bun made of white flour is fragrant. This kind of food, even an old family that has been passed down for 100 years, cannot afford it. Sir, the conditions are limited now. If you don't mind, let's have some together. The firehead soldier looked at Cheng Yu with a smile on his face. Then he filled a bowl of congee filled with sticks, served it with steamed buns of white flour and pickles, and handed it to Cheng Yu. Looking at the food in hand. Cheng Yu was not in a hurry to eat, but couldn't wait to ask the firehead soldier. Brother, dare I ask, do all the soldiers in our Yellow Turban Army eat these every now and then? The firehead soldier smiled proudly. This is nature. Shuai pities me, these fighting men, and specially prayed to Wang to give me such food. Now we have 3 meals a day, each of which is a stick of congee, and enough white steamed buns. What? All of them are congee and white steamed buns. Eat 3 more meals a day. Upon hearing these words, Cheng Yu was completely stunned. In today's Han Dynasty, there is a shortage of resources and a reduction in grain production. Ordinary families, not to mention eating 3 meals a day. A meal in 3 days is enough. Even wealthy aristocratic families with abundant food never have 3 meals a day. According to the eating habits of the Han dynasty. Eat early and late every day. I don't eat at noon. 3 meals a day, all of which are congee and steamed buns. If this group of Yellow Turban army breaks through, will the court officials and soldiers still be able to fight against them in the future? Sir, the stick congee and white steamed bun are also delicious. In my opinion, why don't we just stay in the Yellow Turban army and don't leave? On the vacant land of a deserted village. Cheng-Yu's boy with a horse in his hand holds a big bowl, a mouthful of congee and a mouthful of steamed buns. He eats them thoroughly. He was eating while praising Cheng-Yu for the delicious food in the Yellow Turban army. Cheng-Yu listens to the words in her ear, but looks at the stick congee, pickles and steamed white noodles in her hands. This kind of yellow, orange and orange stick congee was his first time to see and eat. To be honest, as a renowned scholar in Gunzhou, his family background is naturally not much worse, and his knowledge is even more extraordinary. Bangzi Congee seems to have been cooking for a long time, but he doesn't know what kind of food it is. In the Han dynasty, people usually eat rice and millet. Even in the home of Zhong Mingding, when eating, rice and millet are mixed and boiled together, with at most some minced meat added to make a meat soup. As it is now, porridge made from pure rations. Even the nobles and nobles dare not eat like this. The key is that Dun Dun is like this. It's really extravagant to the extreme. The black sheep have reached the extreme. Not to mention that one of his young servants who led a horse was conquered by Bonzi Congee. Even if it is a prince or minister who comes, I am afraid I will eat happily without thinking about Sichuan. And that kind of pickled vegetables. The essential salt used for pickling pickled vegetables has no bitter taste. This level of refined salt cannot be compared to tribute salt. Such precious food. Here, it's easy to eat, unlimited in quantity. It's scary to think about it. As for the final white bread, it appears to be flour made from high-quality wheat. Such an exquisite meal, the Emperor of Han was afraid to leave tears of envy upon seeing it. 3 simple ways of eating allowed Cheng-Yu, a renowned figure who had seen countless storms, to live in Bengbu. A question couldn't help but arise from his mind. Where exactly did these grains come from? While Cheng-Yu was pondering, Yi Chen walked towards him on the other side. Mr. Cheng, are these foods still delicious? Yi Chen smiled and asked. Thank you, General Chu, for your hospitality. This kind of food is unheard of, and truly delicious. Cheng-Yu bowed to Yi Chen. I have been pondering for a long time about what the gentleman just said, and I feel that what he said is not without reason. Yi Chen suddenly said. Upon hearing this, Cheng-Yu felt great joy in his heart. Upon hearing this Chu Shuai intends to surrender to the court. If that's really the case, that would be great. Dun Dun Bangzi Congee with white steamed buns. Eating it all winter, even the little dog has become a strong man. When the imperial court enters the mountains to besiege and suppress the Yellow Turban army in spring, it's hard to say who wins and who loses. Since Chu Shuai has the intention of surrendering, I am willing to lead a needle in it. Cheng-Yu didn't finish speaking on his end. Yi Chen waved his hand directly to interrupt. I'm afraid the gentleman misunderstood my meaning. I have never considered surrendering to the court. The only way to solve my army's current predicament is to break through. Of course, to achieve this, we cannot do without the help of the gentleman. After listening to what Yi Chen said, Cheng-Yu had a question mark on his head. Is it crazy to ask him to help the Yellow Turban army break through? He knew how important it was for the Jiangdu County Magistrate to eliminate the Yellow Turban army in front of him. Otherwise, he wouldn't have gone on this trip either. If he really helps this Yellow Turban army escape from birth, let alone anything else. His family, of all ages, was designated to be chopped down by the magistrate of Jiangdu County. Over here. After Yi Chen finished speaking, he was too lazy to explain. Glancing at Captain Lin. Lin Shuai immediately led his 110 troops towards the 30 or so imperial officials and soldiers brought by Cheng. Hey, what are you guys doing? Speak up and don't pick your clothes. Yeah, look for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com. Didn't we just have a meal with you? We're not even committed to each other, are we? Brother, we are men. Please, don't pick us up. Brother, I was wrong. I beg you to be gentle when I handle things later. Stop talking nonsense and take off on your own. Don't force me to take action. Captain Lin, along with his soldiers, surrounded the officers and soldiers in groups. The officers and soldiers looked at Captain Lin's fierce appearance. Suddenly, the chrysanthemum tightened. Nima. I never expected that the Yellow Turban army would be a bunch of livestock. If I had known, even if I had killed them, I wouldn't have come. Just thinking about the tragic fate ahead. Many timid officers and soldiers burst into tears. Yi Chen has been pondering for the past 2 days. How to break through the blockade of officers and soldiers with the minimum cost. To be honest, if you force yourself, your side will definitely suffer heavy casualties in the end. There are only 3 main paths down the mountain now. On each main road, 1,000 officers and soldiers are stationed. Each station point is equipped with beacon towers. Once there is a change, the officers and soldiers from other station points will immediately come to support. The most crucial point is that in addition to 1,000 infantry, each garrison is also equipped with 100 cavalry. In this era, cavalry unilaterally crushed and slaughtered infantry. So, if we break through tough, it would be good if we could escape 30% of our 1,000 yellow scarf soldiers in the end. I want to escape safely while preserving my strength. You can only use some off-the-plate moves. Just right. The arrival of Cheng made Yi Chen see this possibility. Chapter 7. County Magistrates Living as Grudges. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, old Wang, how are you preparing the laxatives on your end? Yi Chen summoned his 5 lieutenants to his own room to discuss military strategy. Don't worry, Shuai. It's already ready. Not to mention 1,000 people, even if there are another 1,000, the dosage will be enough. Old Wang's face showed a cunning smile. Did my brothers put on clothes and all that? Yi Chen looked at Captain Lin and asked. It's all done. Captain Lin nodded and replied. Okay. Yi Chen nodded. Then follow what we discussed beforehand. When dinner is served in the evening, let the brothers change into officers' and soldiers' clothes and send the Han army stationed at the foot of the mountain some stick congee with laxatives and white steamed buns. When they start pulling, let's quickly break through. Keep an eye on Cheng, don't let him run away. This time, let's sing a song to the soldiers and horses of the court. Concealing the heavens and crossing the sea, Li Dai Tao stiff. This is the solution that Yi Chen has come up with these past few days. Order his subordinates to change into the clothes of Han soldiers and then reward the army under the name of Cheng. When the soldiers at the foot of the mountain ate the congee with laxatives and began to spray it. That's when they break through the envelope. This method was impossible to achieve in the past. After all, their Yellow Turban army is almost starving to death. Where else can we bring out food to seduce the imperial army? But now, Yi Chen has a system. Combined with passive skills, violent returns. Every day, there are 100,000 pieces of congee, pickles and steamed buns. A few days down. His storage space has long been cramped. It's better to use it as bait than to waste it in vain. Furthermore, it can be said that being surrounded by this barren mountain all along is not a problem for Yi Chen. It's too slow to rely solely on 1,000 Yellow Turban army subordinates to boost reputation. Only by breaking through and finding a broader world. To maximize the effectiveness of the system. The key to solving all problems is. He needs enough food. As soon as he mentioned this, Chen felt like he had completely stood up. Sorry. More than food, we have never been afraid of anyone. Should I say it or not? The treatment of Han officials and soldiers nowadays is actually just like that. There is no silver salary or anything like that. At most, it's just about managing a meal. It's still the kind that's semi-dry and semi-dilute. It's impossible to have enough to eat. The sky is just an insatiable level of hunger. Can the soldiers and horses of the imperial court not be confused when the stick congee, white steamed bun and mustard tuber are produced? Who can resist not eating? The most important thing is unlimited supply. This desperate escape seemed completely stable to Chen. Unless the county magistrate of Jiangdu County can provide better food for these stationed officers and soldiers every day. But is this possible? Chen's set of 3 pieces of stick congee, white steamed bun and mustard tuber, the Han Emperor can't bring them out. 3 days later. Jiangdu County Government. Damn it, it's been several days now. Why hasn't there been any news from Cheng yet? This kid won't plan to fail, will he? At this moment. Li Gang, the county magistrate of Jiangdu County, was running around anxiously in the back office with his hands behind his back. In order to eliminate this yellow turban army, he managed to suppress all the old tricks. Out of my own pocket, I recruited 2,000 village soldiers and joined the previous Jiangdu County garrison. A total of 3,000 troops were gathered. Additionally, 300 cavalry were assigned. If it weren't for the heavy snow blocking the mountains, it wouldn't be easy to fight. He had long led his troops to annihilate this yellow turban army. Sir, I don't think you need to worry. If there's no news coming, that's good news. Moreover, Mr. Cheng has always been cautious in his work, so he may have succeeded by now. It is very likely that he has already arrived at Jiangdu with the surrendered yellow turban army. The gentleman under Li Gang spoke out in relief. Hey! This matter is not urgent, can't it? Now that the position of Jiangyin prefect is vacant, if we can eliminate this yellow turban army before the start of spring. Report the news to the court, the position of Jiangyin prefect must be in my pocket. Otherwise, why should I spend so much money, food, and energy to annihilate this yellow turban army? Li Gang's subordinates naturally understood the demands of their own family. But they can only wait for news about this matter. You can't just wave your hand and order the army to search the mountains. If one is ambushed by those yellow scarf thieves hiding in the mountains, all that has been done has gone to waste. Anyway, Li Gang is now ready with both hands. Firstly, it would be best if Cheng Yu could persuade the yellow turban army to rectify the chaos. Even if it doesn't work out. After the spring snow melts, we will launch a strong frontal attack. Regardless of the plan, the prerequisite is to completely block the 1,000 yellow turban army at Camel Mountain. Suddenly, the voice of the messenger sounded outside the county government office. Sir, there's news. Upon hearing these words, County Magistrate Li Gang's heart tightened. Quickly welcome the messenger. Report it quickly. Sir, Marquis Li has an urgent report. Li Gang was momentarily stunned. He thought it was Cheng Yu who successfully persuaded surrender. After a while of trouble, it turned out to be news from the generals stationed on Camel Mountain. Sir, Marquis Li urgently reports that the Yellow Turban Army on Camel Mountain has broken through. Haha. Upon hearing this news, Li Gang's face was overjoyed. If the Yellow Turban Army hides in the deep mountains, he really has no way to deal with them. It's like finding a dead end to take the initiative to break through now. After all, they have an absolute advantage in terms of military strength, equipment, and other aspects. How has our army achieved success? Have we completely annihilated the enemy army? Li Gang confidently stroked his beard and smiled. Sir, we haven't achieved anything. Upon hearing these words, Li Gang was greatly puzzled. No gains. What does this mean? Is it difficult? Do people on my side just watch the Yellow Turban army leave? What's going on? Li Gang's face darkened and he shouted sternly. Sir, the Yellow Turban army is cunning. They came to reward the army under the guise of Mr. Cheng. I took laxatives while eating. Even if our army has a heart to stop us, we still have abdominal cramps and a heart-to-heart weakness. So, looking for Shuyuan www.zhaoshuyuan.com can only watch as the Yellow Turban army breaks through. Hear this news. Li Gang suddenly felt a sense of darkness before his eyes, as the sky and earth spun around. Your sister. I have already pressed down the coffin. Did the Yellow Turban army escape so easily as a result? My investment and hard work in the past few months have been in vain. Sir. Not only that, when the Yellow Turban army broke through, he also took away 100 horses from our army without hesitation. Hear this. Li Gang has an impulse to vomit blood. Emotions have become a major source of resentment. His investment is to make wedding clothes for the Yellow Turban army. Big, sir. Someone saw that Mr. Cheng seemed to have also surrendered to the Yellow Turban army. Puff. Hear this news. Li Gang spat out a mouthful of old blood directly. Cheng has always relied heavily on him, and many of his confidential matters are handled by Cheng Yu's hands. Never expected. Cheng, this guy with thick eyebrows and big eyes, also surrendered to the Yellow Turban army. Sir, are you okay? Li Gang's subordinate saw his own owner vomiting blood. Immediately come up and assist. Li Gang wiped away the blood from the corner of his mouth, and a fierce expression appeared in his eyes. Command the messenger. You go and pass on the county magistrate now. Order the other 2 station troops to gather at one point, and this county will personally lead troops to chase after this Yellow Turban army. Immediately. If the military plane is delayed, this county will definitely execute it without mercy. Say it. Li Gang immediately issued another order, ordering his own servants to change their clothes and prepare their horses, ready to go to Camel Mountain and join the army. Chapter 8. You should leave some congee for me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push. After the county magistrate of Jiangdu County donned his armor and mounted his horse, he hurried to Camel Mountain. Order immediately after meeting with the stationed officers and soldiers. Marquis Zhang, now you lead 1,000 men and horses under your command to immediately head to Biwashi village in Jiangdu County to intercept the Yellow Turban army. If you find any trace of the Yellow Turban army, don't attack and immediately send a message to this county. After the support from our county arrives, we will launch a general attack. This county led another 1,000 troops to the south of Jiangdu County to intercept and search for the Yellow Turban army. If I find any trace of the Yellow Turban army on my end, please send someone to support me immediately. A strong man in armor, clasping his fists and taking orders, rushed to Huasher village with his soldiers. Currently, under the command of Li Gang, the magistrate of Jiangdu County, there are only 2,000 available troops and horses. As for the other defenders, they have all transformed into jet warriors. Walking is always stumbling. It is obviously unrealistic to expect them to pursue the Yellow Turban army. In Li Gang's opinion, the Yellow Turban army is in short supply of food. After breaking through the mountain, the first thing to do was to plunder on the spot and search for food. They cannot attack the county town. The only place to go is the 6 villages under the jurisdiction of Jiangdu County. Huasher village and Chenlu village in the north. Dongwang village, Shiwang village, Nanwang village, and Beiwang village in the south. Now, although the Yellow Turban army has escaped from the Camel Mountain, But if the Yellow Turban Army is blocked in these villages, there is still room for redemption. On the other side, Cheng fled Camel Mountain with the Yellow Turban Army. He looked at the rapidly marching Yellow Turban Army with a look of despair on his face. Yi Chen's move is too ruthless. I originally intended to persuade the Yellow Turban Army to surrender with a 3-inch eloquence. Who could have thought of it? Yi Chen directly relied on his strength to fight. Reward the army under his name and administer laxatives to their meals. Is this something that a good person can do? Cheng Yu is afraid that he will never have the face to see the magistrate of Jiangdu County in the future. Perhaps now, the magistrate of Jiangdu County has already known the news of his surrender to the Yellow Turban Army. Oh, pity my whole family. I hope the magistrate of Jiangdu County is kind and not to implicate my family. Cheng Yu let out a faint sigh. I knew the Yellow Turban Army had so much food. Even if he's beaten to death, he can't come. Now I have really been tricked by Yi Chen. On the other side, Captain Lin Shuai rode on a warhorse that had come from the Han army. With a flick of the whip, he caught up with the leading Yi Chen. Chu Shuai. Where are we going next? Yi Chen gave a faint smile. From my perspective, the magistrate of Jiangdu County will not easily let us go. When he learns of our breakthrough from Camel Mountain, he will definitely send troops and horses to chase after us. Now we are half a day ahead. Then we need to make good use of this time difference. Take half a day to find a suitable hiding place, so that the government's troops and horses can be nowhere to be found. Now, after more than 10 days baptism of stick congee and white steamed bun. On the side of the Yellow Turban Army, everyone has long recovered. Good physique. The speed of marching will naturally be much faster. In Yi Chen's view, now is the time to compete with the officers and soldiers for speed and time. After all, the officers and soldiers have a numerical advantage, and they are also playing at home. No need to defeat the Yellow Turban Army. As long as you can drag it, you can receive support from other troops and horses in Linxian. So, the crisis of the Yellow Turban Army has not been resolved yet. Next, the Yellow Turban Army must find a hidden place. A place that officers and soldiers can never discover. The called, Great Hidden in the World. Yi Chen continued to say to Captain Lin. I had already planned it before going down the mountain. Let's go to Siwang village. Those 4 villages are quite large in scale, hiding 1,000 soldiers and horses from us, making it difficult for outsiders to discover. Next, let the officers and soldiers fall into the vast ocean of people's war. For Wang villages in the east, west, north, south. It is one of the 4 major villages under the jurisdiction of Jiangdu County. There are over 5,000 villagers living in the permanent population. They hid their 1,000 yellow scarf soldiers inside. Outsiders really can't see anything. Captain Lin saw Yi Chen's face with a smile of victory in hand. I also laughed along. He is now truly convinced. My Chu Shuai is not only able to communicate with heaven, but also has such a good brain. This continues to develop. Maybe their Yellow Turban Army can really live up to what General Zhang Jiao said. A whole new world. Captain Lin excitedly waved his whip and shouted to the marching team. Brothers! Put in more effort and speed up. We Chu Shuai said, wait until Siwang village. We will be completely safe now. Half a day later. 1,000 Yellow Turban Army arrived at the entrance of Dongwang village. Nowadays, in times of chaos, swords and weapons are rising everywhere. For ordinary people, officers and soldiers are thieves, refugees are thieves, and thieves are even more thieves. To save my life. Most villages have built earthen buildings and bunkers to resist bandits. At this point, in the earthen fortress of Dongwang village, there are shadows and crowds of people moving. Everyone has a nervous expression on their face. On one of the higher earthen buildings, Village chief, there have been too many yellow turban soldiers coming. I'm afraid we can withstand it. If not, give them some food and send them away. One of the Dongwang village elders suggested. Yeah. Another tribal elder conforms to the Tao. According to the court, the Yellow Turban Army is not human. Burning, killing, and looting are all evil deeds. I heard they even eat people. In my opinion, let's abandon the village and run away. Escape to the mountains and hide for a while. Let's wait until the officers and soldiers arrive before we come out. After all, if a hero doesn't suffer immediate losses and leaves the Green Mountains behind, he's not afraid of having no firewood to burn. The village chief gave the tribal elder a displeased look. What nonsense! Now that everyone is in front of you, isn't it because you want to run and save someone who can run? For today's plan, we can only compete with them. It's all one head, two arms, who's afraid of who? Hurry up and find someone to report to the government. Let's hold on here for now. When the government troops arrive, maybe we still have a chance to survive. The village chief just finished speaking. Chen pushed his horse's head and marched out from the Yellow Turban Army. Shout loudly towards the direction of the village's Tolu bunker. Dear village chiefs and elders. I am Shuai of the Yellow Turban Army, Chen. If it's not absolutely necessary, we wouldn't want to disturb. Now passing by the precious land, I just want to find a place to rest and repair. Of course, I can't wait for nothing. Prepare a small gift to show sincerity. After Chen finished speaking, he waved his hand. Immediately, dozens of soldiers from the Yellow Turban Army carried more than 10 large jars, with more than 10 bamboo baskets and jars placed in front of the village entrance. As the lid of the large cylinder opens, the smell of congee and steamed white flour wafted towards the entrance of the village. Gollum! Gollum! Villagers in Tolu, upon smelling this fragrance, one by one, they couldn't help but swallow saliva. In the late Han Dynasty, natural disasters continued and there was a crop failure. Zhaoshuyuan.com plus various corvée taxes. Almost all ordinary people live on the brink of life and death. Don't say you're full, eat well. Those who can stutter and survive are considered good. I would rather be a balanced dog than a chaotic person. This is not for nothing. Bangzi congee and white steamed buns are good for the hungry people. It can be imagined how tempting it can be. In the earthen building, the village chief who smelled the fragrance instinctively swallowed his saliva. Looking back at the village elders. Steady. Everyone must stabilize. This is the scheme of the Yellow Turban Army, they are using these things to lure us. Just waiting for us to fall into the trap and annihilate it in one fell swoop. I heard the village chief's words. Many ethnic elders twitched their lips. You can pull it up. Just our earthen tower, the Yellow Turban Army on the opposite side was defeated with just one charge. Does someone come up with these things to tempt you? Isn't this taking off your pants and farting? Villagers, stay calm. We just need to hold them back, and once the officers and soldiers arrive, all problems will be easily solved. After speaking, take a look back. The village chief fainted directly. Nima. What about people? Looking back towards the direction of the Yellow Turban Army, I found the villagers stationed inside the Tolu bunker. They went to grab Bangzi congee and white steamed buns. See this scene. The village chief's angry face turned green. Suddenly burst out from the earthen building. Curse loudly. You stinky and shameless dogs. You should leave some for me. Chapter 9. Is this called a villain? It's clearly Master Wang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This translator is experiencing an error, please try another translator. Chapter 10. Does this become Chu Shuai's loyal dog? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ads by Google equals window. Ads by Google. Push, spy. Upon hearing this, Captain Wang put away his smile and raised his eyebrows. Then he gave a glance to the old village chief Wang Sr. Quietly taking Wang Sen to find Yichen. The Congee shed at the entrance of the village is still very lively and joyful. It seems like nothing has happened. Someone, take these people down. After receiving a report from the old village chief Wang Sen, Yichen. Order Captain Lin to lead his soldiers to capture these spies. A dozen or so people squatting at the village entrance are discussing the details of their actions at night. Just as I finished speaking, I saw Captain Lin charging towards them with dozens of yellow turban soldiers. Seeing soldiers rushing towards, more than 10 people were all confused. What is the situation? Clearly, he didn't show any horse's feet. Why was it suddenly exposed? At this point, Wang Sen saw more than 10 people being captured. Walked up to them with an angry expression on his face. Humph. I knew it, old man. You people who don't want to give back are not good people at first glance. I saw a spy in Dongwang village. The surrounding melon-eating villagers cheered one after another. Pooh, they are all some ruthless thieves. You eat and drink from Shuai, but when you turn around, you actually want to assassinate Shuai. I've noticed something's wrong with these people a long time ago. They don't usually stay in the village and even gather together to sneakily discuss something, but at first glance, they can't hold their breath. That's right, everyone who looks like dogs knows to squat in a corner every day, and at first glance it feels guilty. Animals, what a nice man Shuai is. When he comes to our village, he will give us congee without saying anything. You are not grateful, but you are going to be spies. Do you have any conscience? At this moment, at the entrance of the village, looking at the dozen or so people who had been captured, the elderly, weak, women, and children all cursed loudly. Now in their view, what Yichen gave them to eat and drink, this is the #1 great philanthropist in the world. Without Yichen, would they be able to eat such good things as stick congee, white steamed buns and pickles in their lives? And these people, not only lack gratitude, but also want to be spies and betray Yichen, which is simply a heinous crime. For a while, the dozen or so people who were scolded by the villagers, with their heads down, were speechless. All of them will be taken to the military camp and handed over to General Chu for personal interrogation. Captain Lin waved his hand and directly instructed his soldiers to take away more than 10 people. Before leaving, Captain Lin followed Yichen's instructions. I would like to express my gratitude to the old village chief. Not long after, in the crude tent of the Chinese army, Shuai, these spies have all been brought to you. In the account, Wang Ergu and others all knelt under Yichen, their heads lowered, and they dared not even take a breath. Yichen sitting above. Looking at these spies, I couldn't help but have a somewhat solemn expression. He really didn't expect it. Under the strong attack of Bangzi congee, white steamed bun and mustard tuber, there are still people who want to be spies and sell themselves. This is like later generations. Suddenly, there is an elder brother who takes you to eat abalone, ginseng, wings, and stomach every day, and the whole banquet is full of people. As a younger brother, can you not give up on it? This suddenly made Yichen feel alert and introspective. Previously, he did think too simplistically about some things. Tell me, why do you want to be spies? Yichen looked at the dozen or so people kneeling under him and calmly asked. Marshal. We're damn it. We were blinded by lard. Jiangdu County previously posted a notice stating that as long as you can hand in your head, you can get a reward of 100 gold. Is that all? Yichen raised his eyebrows and asked. Speak up. Your Highness, now asking you to say is giving you a chance. Lin Shuai fiercely threatened. Old Wang chuckled and started singing with a red face. You people just don't understand what cherishing is. Think about it, as long as Chu Shuai stays in Dongwang village for a day. All the people in Dongwang village have congee with sticks and steamed buns with white flour to eat. In this world, who can eat these things all at once? To put it bluntly, Chu Shuai is the life-saving benefactor of the entire Dongwang village. Hear these. Wang Ergu's head drooped even lower. He knows that old Wang's words are good. In today's world, having food is not bad. Eating well is something that can only occur in dreams. Although Dongwang village is a large village. But every winter, dozens of people starve to death. Not to mention within Jiangdu County. Every spring, a large number of dead people are carried out in large numbers. Now in this world, grain is more valuable than life. Chu Shuai, we really think this way because of money. There is absolutely no other conspiracy behind it. Wang Ergu and others spoke with sincerity. Yi Chen nodded. It seems that this is indeed the case. This matter is simpler than he imagined. If these dozen or so people are really spies planted by the county magistrate of Jiangdu County in Dongwang village in advance, that matter is really difficult to handle. Okay. Since you said that, I believe what you said. I would like to ask you, are you willing to take responsibility and make achievements? Undercover for Ben Shuai in Jiangdu County. After the future is completed, I can promise you to wait and include you in the Yellow Turban Army. In the future, we will eat congee with sticks, and the white steamed buns will be enough. As soon as this sentence is spoken. For Wang Ergu and others, it is no less than a thunderbolt. Previously, they have long heard from the soldiers in the Yellow Turban Army. Soldiers in the Yellow Scarf Army, congee with sticks, mustard tuber, and steamed buns with white flour are free to eat. Eat until you are full, eat until you vomit. They are already idle men in Jiangdu County. I usually make a living by doing odd jobs. Most of the time, we are hungry and full. Now I can have a long-term iron rice bowl. Zhaosuiyuan.com. How can we not be happy? Chu Shuai. Is what you're saying true? Wang Ergu and others suddenly had a gleam in their eyes. This is nature. Yi Chen nodded solemnly. A sudden incident occurred. Suddenly, it also gave Yi Chen inspiration. Anyway, Wang Ergu and others often go overboard in Jiangdu County. Must be familiar with the situation within Jiangdu County. In his opinion, Dongwang village is still too small for future development. He is bound to take over the county seat of Jiangdu County. Arrange one or two hidden moves in advance. It turned out to be an unexpected joy. Even if he fails, he doesn't have much to lose. Chu Shuai, I don't even know what to say. Wu, Marshal Chu is so kind to us, but we want to secretly plot against him. We are simply not human. It's better to be a beast. On this side, Wang Ergu heard Yi Chen's promise. Tears streamed down my face as I cried. He originally thought he would be caught by the Yellow Turban Army. I thought I was doomed. Who would have thought that the twists and turns of the road would become an opportunity for him to join the Yellow Turban Army? Today, Chu Shuai showed kindness to us. From today on, Wang Ergu's life will be Chu Shuai's. In the future, as long as Chu Shuai gives a command, I, Wang Ergu, am willing to go up the Sword Mountain and down the Sea of Fire for Chu Shuai without hesitation. Wang Ergu spoke passionately. All the people who were caught with him were dumbfounded. The words that had killed the Yellow Turban Army commander Chu before still resonated in my ears. Good guy. Now in the blink of an eye. Has he become a loyal dog of Chu Shuai?